So, we're not exactly in a usual place. In fact, we are in R1, which is not commonly where these videos are hosted. That's because we're playing Melee Myrahg's Pestilence, or Pestilence, I don't actually know how to pronounce it. See, this build was born when I had a very silly thought. I was like, man, I want to use melee. I want to play Myrahg's Pestilence as a melee weapon because it costs so much that it would, and this whole thing looks so cool that it would kind of suck if I couldn't use it. And I tried for a little bit, but it kind of, in terms of melee ability, it falls short of something like Lacuna, which is the Riptide 1 trident you can get from somewhere close by in the ocean. And of course, melee scout was really the only way to get the attack speed you needed because it was a 1.1 attack speed weapon, and this was post attack speed nerf. You weren't getting anywhere if you didn't have a lot of attack speed. Ooh. So it's like, okay, cool. We can do that, but then, or rather, we couldn't really do that. So I looked at the other set of Mirages, the one that doesn't really care about attack speed, and that's why we are underwater, flinging ourselves directly into enemies. Now, the reason I chose Scout is pretty interesting, actually. So, if you look at the other classes, Rogue needs swords. Warrior doesn't benefit from doesn't benefit, right? The only thing you're gonna get is like the 20% increased EHP because brute force doesn't work underwater. Because after all, every single one of these is actually it's a normal attack. It's not even a crit. So it's a little bit so that's why the build has to have a lot of damage. Otherwise you don't really oh geez. Not use the dolphin space. Yeah, the build needs to not have oh geez, okay. Yeah, it can't crit underwater. Because the way trident crits work is you have to exit the water and then fall onto an enemy while still in the Riptide animation. And so that doesn't really happen if you're underwater. I mean, it doesn't really happen much out of water either. So what you're stuck with is basically what class can boost the damage of a non-critical hit. And it's only Scout. There is a tiny edge case to be made for Cleric, right? Where you say, oh, it's because I want the DJ healing. But but DJ won't actually give you any damage, so it's kind of hard to justify. Especially over Agility 2 just giving you a free 10%, and then Swiftness giving you another 30 if you can clear fast enough, and it's not that hard to clear fast enough. The issue with this build is, of course, that if you don't one-shot your enemy, you're not trading hits with them. They're melee, but it doesn't really matter. It's R1, you can heal it up even if you have this little EHP. When I said, oh, don't care about attack speed, that's not quite true. Like, you notice that despite the fact that it shouldn't, I mean, I've got replica rod of the Onodrim because it's just massive damage, but attack speed underwater is definitely a little bit funny. It's not um doing a trident attack when it's off its like internal cooldown will still cause it to deal less damage, right? Just like how doing a normal melee attack will do less damage if it's not fully charged, right? It's not just a quick condition. But the thing is, this timing doesn't match up with the timing that you get on land. It's like faster. I'm not sure whether this is Monu being jank or it's just Minecraft being jank, but either way, it turns out that if you're going to Riptide immediately once you can, right? The 0.66 attack speed that you'd get from running only only replica out of Onodrim isn't good enough. You will actually need you will actually need 20% from Lodestar boots. And because I am cheap and I do not have missed. Because I am cheap and I do not have Kingslayer and I do not have King Sabatons, this is the best option for me. It's probably possible to be using Life Drain from something like Sanguine Greaves or Memorandum, although I would not use Memorandum, it is not going to be very good here. But I suspect it's only going to count as a non-crit, and that's like the healing from non-crit on Life Drain is kind of pitiful if I remember correctly. Get back here. Yippee. And so you can play this build by just slamming yourself into enemies. The unfortunate thing is I have no real good way of testing it in delve context because where's the underwater? It's only like light blue first section, magenta last section. So I'm forced to play POIs, and of course in an R1 POI it's quite sleeper, so yeah, you can deal 30 damage with an unboosted hit, and that's fine, and you won't get punished for it, because you can play whatever. But I think this is just cool. I bet properly edited, you could get some really cinematic shots um, of you just zipping into an enemy and killing it, and then zipping to the next enemy and killing that one too. Alright. To the star!